As you can clearly see from everybody here, there's a lot of big fans. Yes.
Well, some are smaller and
medium to large.
Yeah.
There's a big solid fan base here, and obviously it's your performances have reached a lot of people. Have you noticed from conventions somebody expressing how much that your individual characters have meant to them?
That is the most amazing part of being a part of this process. And another thing that maybe not the first thing on your mind is that this is a ride for Eric and I too. We didn't expect this, and I just feel like I'm a part of something that became popular. I don't accept any responsibility for its appeal. I just feel like I did my job well enough that it didn't suck, and people like the show, right? And so I don't do a lot of conventions, but inevitably in any convention I've done, there's a handful of people who express things along the lines of, "You were the voice of my childhood. You helped get me through a hard time." And it can be very heartbreaking. There was a woman in Florida when we appeared describing how she had recently lost her father, and but having a place to go to, a form of entertainment. We all know what that's like, whether it's Yu-Gi-Oh or something else. So on that level, I've had artists' work that has helped me through hard times. So even though I'm not a huge fan of myself, I understand where they might be coming from, right? And that value is priceless.
Yeah. I mean, we're humbled by it. We're flattered by it. We're fans of things too, so we get that. But we also don't take it for granted when we hear that stuff.
No,
I think there definitely are people that think like, oh, I just don't understand the anime thing and the convention environment. But we don't necessarily know when we're doing the work how we are touching you, or whether you're emotionally moved by something, whatever, because we don't have the immediate response, a fan mail thing or the ratings show that the show is popular. But that doesn't mean anything to us as people. We just go, okay, I guess that they like the show. But then when you go to a convention and you get that feedback or those personal stories, I think it's also very important if you want to say someone is a role model or an inspiration. And we were having this conversation the other night about dinner. Without getting too philosophical about life and stuff like that, I think one of the questions everyone should always ask themselves is, would it have made a difference if I was never born? Am I adding something to society or anything? You don't have to, you could be a doctor, a scientist, whatever, you could be just a really helpful, waiter. It doesn't matter. I mean, is your presence meaningful in some way? So if you do have an opportunity to have a stage, an audience and something like that, and someone comes up to you and says, I want to pursue this, but I know it's a tough business, you have an opportunity to either go, yeah, good luck to you, and then move on to the next person and sign an autograph, or go, you know what, if I actually engage that person and tell them my story or a little bit about that, maybe they will go on to do something and you make a difference. Yeah. So you have to ask yourself, at the end of all of this, what did I leave behind? You don't have to change the world, but you can change one person's life, and that gives you purpose. Yeah. So I think that's important to remember, Yeah.
So I always like to flag things up because, you are actors in an entertainment industry, and I'm speaking from myself, and I'm sure a lot of people here, is that these characters are not just on a TV show that you watch, you resonate with them, you connect with them. And I always like to stress that even if it is something as small as voicing a character, you can touch a lot of people with that. And I always like to stress that. So on behalf of everybody here, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, thanks. Yeah. I also want to add one other thing, which I said last night during the concert, is that I also feel like what's great about the anime convention environment is that it's no, not that part. Is that on a serious note, I love the fact that it's such a diverse and accepting group of people. That I'm a nerd.
I'm a comic book geek. I'm a sci-fi geek.
We're gamers.
We game every week.
Yeah. So we understand that. But
together.
But what's really great is that in this environment, maybe the people like us that were on the fringe, we're the norm. And that the diversity and the acceptance that is expressed here is a great template of how society could behave outside of a convention. Yes. So I love that. I love it.
Yeah, and to back that up, I've said this before, but another thing that I find so impressive about coming to these sorts of things is the enthusiasm and that you guys, the amount of cosplay you guys do and all that stuff.
Such creativity.
It's just evidence of passion, and that's admirable.
Yep.
You know, and it's inspiring.
Yeah.
Have you guys ever met anybody cosplaying as a character that you have voiced?
Oh yeah, all weekend.
Exhibit A.
Yeah.
Right, A, B, C.
Yeah.
How does that feel when you go to a convention and you see somebody expressing themselves through somebody that you have voiced?
You start this one.
Yes.
Well, I mean, I always appreciate when someone feels that my character or the character that I'm voicing, should take 3 or 4 months of their time to sew and build and this and that. But I'm impressed with all levels of cosplay. And the creativity, and whether you go to the hardware store and find a strainer to make a helmet out of it, and whatever you're doing, I love that passion. And yes, it's nice when it's my character, but I like, no matter what you do, if you make an effort, even if you just found a cool T-shirt to wear, that's cool. That's great too. And the last thing about that is, I also like to ask the groups here. So, how many of you guys write? So how many of you guys draw? And how many of you guys might want to dabble in voice acting? Okay, and how about video editing? Right? Okay, all of those things. So I will tell you this. The difference between when I started out in this business and I had to edit things on reel-to-reel machines and with razor blades.
I started with papyrus.
Right, exactly, yes. Well, he's a trained actor. That's what the roles were. The idea that you have not only the technology in your hands, because you can pretty much do everything on your iPhone now. I mean, I can run Pro Tools from that. Is that you are sitting with people that love the same sort of things that you do, and you're a very talented bunch of people. You have the potential of multiple production companies within this room. And that you should take the opportunity to actually talk to each other, because you might be able to come up with not only the shows that you love that we were on, thank you very much, but maybe there's original content somewhere tucked away in your brain. So don't think that, oh man, those guys are famous and they're working on big shows. I would love to be able to beat Kaiba in Yu-Gi-Oh! Well, you know what? I would love for you to create your own Yu-Gi-Oh! And then maybe hire me as a voice actor. Don't feel like those things are things you can't do.
Right.
So take advantage of the people that are with you here and talk to each other. Right. You might find that you have some common ground and do some cool stuff yourself, original ideas. That's what I'd like to see the next time we come back, which should be next year. Yeah. That you guys say to us, oh, by the way, we took that advice, and this is my new comic book I made, and this is my new cartoon I'm developing, or my novel I'm writing, things like that. So use this arena to talk to each other.
You asked about, what's it like to encounter somebody who's dressed up as a character,
yes,
right?
Yes, yes.
And another element of being a professional actor / performer, what have you. And some of this might be informed from my background in theater, where you're portraying characters that have been portrayed before by many other actors in classic play. How many different Hamlets have we seen, and so on and so forth?
Only yours.
You didn't want to see that. You don't want to see that. To be or what?
Yeah.
And particularly in this example of anime, where obviously we're not the original voice actors, right? We're being inserted into these roles that have literally been shaped and performed by somebody else. So when I see Yu-Gi-Oh! Or Atem or whatever, I don't think my character. I think a character I got to interpret.
That's the difference between us.
Because I'm not the.
Yes.
That's why you got the job. Yes, good Kaiba, good Kaiba. We'll feed you a Blue Eyes White Dragon later. Anyway, so there is again, just to reinforce the point of, it's our show to enjoy, right? It's no more mine than yours.
Yes.